Hey everybody, this is Allison from Allykatkreations. How are you? It's that time again. Episode 6 is going to be a part 1 of abductions. Say what? Yes. Why abductions? Well, as much as we want to learn about this journey of the Grey Invasion, the Crusaders, the Orion Group, the Nebuans, the Seekar, it doesn't do it justice to not cover abductions because they go hand in hand. Now, I briefly spoken about some stuff in other episodes, but now I'm gonna do a little dive into them. Now, I'm gonna show some images, and they're not for the faint of heart, so I'm giving you a warning. I might even timestamp this so that if you are somebody who can't stomach, and now I'm taking, but you can't stomach the content, that's okay. A lot of us can't, but I think it's very notable to do, is to show some photos from, most of them are from movies, by the way. So just think of them as they're not real. But I'm going to put that caution up now so that you're not traumatized. Or if you're younger and happen to come by this, viewer discretion is advised. And this is for entertainment purposes only. So, third encounters of the third kind, close encounters of the third kind, and fire in the sky. Way back in the day movies, they came out of my time. And boy, were they scary. Sorry if you see other junk. So, third encounters. This is what happens with most people when they're describing their abduction tales. See, I told you it's not fun and that's scary. I don't know if that's from a movie, actually. And I have my purry kitty over here. My co-host. And she's on my mouse. I don't know if that's the Mitra. They look like the Mitra, but they could be the Iban. They look very tall and white. Gray. Again, movie. Look at that little Iban. Look at the EBE. Look how cute. Hive-minded. That is an implant. A lot of people had those implants and they go jiggle them in a jar and nobody knows what they are. And then you can't talk about them because you're crazy. Excuse you, monster. The epic of epics, what most abductees may remember, may recall, because they do delete those things from you. You feel the pain, you might remember it, and you're going through it, but they wipe your mind. Yep. So those are some pictures that I wanted to share of abductions, of things that you might recall. I know I get some people commenting that they've been abducted. I would love for you to talk about it if you're not traumatized by it. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that have had experiences. Please come talk about it if you're not afraid and not traumatized by it. I don't want to upset anybody or have someone relive something that they haven't healed yet. Not the purpose of that. But I would love to have you on because I think more people need to hear people's stories. I think it's very brave of people to come out and to do such. I think a lot of people want to believe, but they don't. And again, it's not fun. No one wants to know that someone was hurt and experimented on as if you're a piece of nothing, a piece of meat. Not fun. I have another picture. Sorry guys, this is in my notes here. Who you calling old? I don't know. So I'm going to read two articles that I found to be very interesting. Again, a lot of these things are not me. These are other people. And I felt that they're worthy of reading to give a perspective on a few things. So this is Modern History by Marco Margaritoff, checked by John Kuroski, published in October 7th, 2020. And this is about abductions and the Barney and Betty Hill. From the 1969 Berkshire's UFO incident to the eerie tale of Barney and Betty Hill, these abduction stories might even make skeptics believe that the truth is out there. On September 20th, 1961, Betty and Barney Hill were driving through the White Mountains of New Hampshire when they said a bright light came out of the sky. 2 hours later, they were back in their driveway with no memory of what happened or where they've been. According to their subsequent reports, the couple have traveled to Zeta Reticuli, a star system 39 light years from Earth. Betty was even inexplicably able to draw an accurate detailed map of the sky as seen from the star. This was the first noteworthy alien abduction story in modern history. Their tale captivated a nation that had scarcely heard anything like it before. And in the years that followed, countless other tales of alien and UFO abductions emerged, each containing new details of grotesque, otherworldly creatures. In 1971, there was a Pascagoula Incident, which allegedly saw 2 fishermen taken from a riverbank in Mississippi and held captive aboard an alien ship. Then in 1978, there was the Travis Walton abduction, during which a Texas man vanished for 5 whole days. While there has yet to be any proof these firsthand accounts are real, the 9 alien stories below are certainly detailed enough to cause chills. So I didn't do all the stories, just focusing on Barney and Betty Hill. Barney and Betty Hill took a spontaneous trip to the White Mountains of New Hampshire in September 1961. As he recounted in John J. Fuller's The interrupted journey from 1966. Barney needed a break from his night shift at the post office, while Betty was mentally exhausted from handling state child welfare cases. On the last night of their makeshift honeymoon, the two found themselves in a Vermont diner, ready to make the last dash home to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. By leaving at 10 p.m., they planned on arriving home around 2 a.m. On the road, Betty noticed a particularly bright light, perhaps a planet, in the sky. When the celestial object began changing its course in an erratic manner, Betty was convinced it was a UFO. Her husband was not. Barney, she said, if you think that's a satellite or a star, you're being completely ridiculous. As the object drew closer, Barney pulled the car to a stop and, gun in hand, got out to investigate. As he approached the object, Barney saw what he could later describe as a pancake-like disc, glowing with brilliant white light that was around the size of a jet. Fleeing back to his car, he and Betty tried to evade the vessel, but were instead overcome with an intense drowsiness and immediately fell unconscious. The couple pulled into their driveway around dawn, unable to recall what had happened. 2 hours of memory seemed to have been wiped from their minds. While Betty was convinced that they had encountered a UFO and later reported the sighting to the Air Force, her husband was skeptical. It was only when the couple met the psychiatrist Dr. Benjamin Simon for a consultation in December 1963 that Barney changed his mind. Dr. Simon found both to be suffering from crippling anxiety. Betty, in particular, manifested hers in the form of repetitive nightmarish dreams. Dr. Simon then put them under hypnosis, which reportedly yielded highly ominous memories. Barney Hill recalled creatures with slanted eyes taking the couple aboard the UFO to conduct experiments on their naked bodies. Barney claimed that the beings took samples of hair, skin, nail clippings, and then a 6-inch needle was inserted into Betty's stomach. Betty told Dr. Simon that she later asked a being they knew to be the leader where they were. It jokingly replied, "If you don't know where you are, there wouldn't be any point in telling you where I am." During another hypnosis session in 1964, Betty purportedly drew a star map of the sky from memory, as seen from a planet orbiting the star Zeta Reticuli. Most shocking above all was that this map was drawn with confounding accuracy, and that Zeta Reticuli lies some 40 light years from Earth. Betty nearly spot-on recreation of the stars surrounding all an actual star system remains one of the most intriguing aspects of all alien stories ever reported. Ultimately, Barney and Betty Hill's account led the Air Force to launch Project Blue Book, a shadowy initiative that aimed to investigate domestic UFO sightings and also presented a template for all the UFO abduction stories that followed in the decades to come. Which some television box propaganda channel put out Project Blue Book on TV. There's a whole series of it. But soft disclosure, X-Files still ranks #1. Hate to say it. In television, soft disclosure wise. But we have to ask ourselves, like, now it's becoming a huge topic again. I mean, unless you're in the UFO community or super soldier community. Recently, some files were released by the US government, not many, not many notable ones by any stretch of the imagination. But the topic of UFOs keeps coming up. And more TikToks and more people are looking up in the sky and seeing things that they've never saw before and they can't explain. So why is this all now coming more to a head? The agenda. Those little shits lost. And not to say that I'm still not taking people, they are. Just got to stand in your conviction and stand in your sovereignty and say, get the f out of my space. You're no longer welcomed here. I'm giving you love and light. I don't consent to this. I did not consent to you taking me. You're not taking me now. Love you. Bye. For real. Stand in your power. They can't stand in theirs because they have no souls. They're hive mind. And the ones that do have souls, they're a service to self. They're of the negative polarity. So how do you get rid of those things? You got to give it love. That's the hardest thing to do, but you are capable of it because you're strong-willed and you can. So there are so many truthers out there now. Elena Denon wrote her book, A Gift from the Stars, that talks about her alien abduction and how she was saved by the Palladians in the Galactic Federation of Worlds. You have series Tony Rodriguez. Wait, I have the book, but it's all the way over there. Series something Cavalier. It'll come to me. But he just came out with his book. Actually, hang on, I'm gonna get it. Series Colony Cavalier by Tony Rodriguez. It's pretty thick. He was abducted. There's a lot that goes into this story. I heard people were crying over this book because of the details and horrific things that happened to Tony. But Tony's here with us and he's an incredible, brilliant mind. So, and very humble. I've watched a lot of his interviews. I can't wait. I cannot wait to read this. I mean, I'm still having a lot of books to go through, but it'll get there. I'll get there. But yeah, there's so many people who have these experiences. I mean, these are old books, guys. Like, this is not a new topic, but it's new to the sense that a lot more people are waking up to this agenda. A lot of people are waking up to what has happened to us as humanity. I mean, is Nibiru coming back? I mean, there are very much people taking photos that really seem like Nibiru is on its way back, Planet X, whatever you want to call it. Here's the Anunnaki. They're coming. Well, they could take all the elites and make them slaves on that planet. Go for it. Welcomed. For all the hell that we all have to go sitting through. But this is why this topic is important, and not to just talk about them, what they do to humans. It's not easy to stomach, but it has to be put out there. This article is from realaliens.org, what happens during an alien abduction. So I found this to be quite interesting. Have you or someone you know been abducted? What if we told you that forces from a hostile country abducted your neighbors last night, performed invasive medical procedures, and your government was doing nothing about it? You would be outraged. You would demand action, and yet very few of us are even aware that alien abductions are taking place. Why is this? Alien abductions have been going on for decades. The pattern is almost always the same. People are taken in the night, often on dark nights when the moon is not in the sky. They feel compelled to follow or do certain things, almost as if they have no control over their own minds. To their shock and horror, medical procedures are performed on them, mostly on their reproductive system. Memories and feelings of aliens doing this for their own good are implanted in the abduction victims. Aliens often reference environmental collapse as a reason. People are brainwashed into believing that this is a very positive and spiritual experience. They are made to feel special. Sometimes entire families are taken, even children. Are you beginning to see the problem here? The very victims of these abductions, people who have been violated against their will, are made to feel as though it was a good thing. The trauma of the experience is real and exists within the deepest reaches of their mind. On the surface, however, they fiercely believe that they are benefited from it. It's a neat little arrangement, but not one in our favor. The ability to manipulate thought and feelings on the mental level is the greatest tool and advantage the aliens have over us. Absolutely true. They mind wipe. Abduction victims become the strongest advocates for alien intervention in humanity's affairs. The notion that we need a foreign alien power to guide us into a better future is strongly implanted in their minds. Unwittingly, they become supporters of very focused forces that threaten our freedom and sovereignty. According to the Allies of Humanity briefings and the new message about alien contact, abductions are a very common scenario in worlds that are emerging into the greater community of life. They are naive, vulnerable, and simply do not have the capacity to understand what is happening. A perfect opportunity that unethical groups of aliens exploit to their own advantage. Why abductions are happening. According to the best analysis, we have alien abductions are occurring for 4 primary reasons. An alien hybrid race is being created. That's why there's so much focus on people's reproductive systems and children. These hybrids look and sound just like us, but they have an allegiance to their alien creators. Because of their alien genetics, they have tremendous ability in the mental environment, telepathy, just like aliens do. Why go through all the trouble? Aliens cannot easily live in our atmosphere. Earth, viruses, and bacteria are huge problems for them. Hybrids have no such difficulties. They are placed in position of power in government, large businesses, and religious institutions. The power behind the throne. What is happening now? Who's going to the spas all around the world and being tried for these little shits? They are studying us to better understand how we can be manipulated. That is absolutely correct. This was especially true in the earlier days of alien abductions. People's psychological, emotional, ethical, and religious impulses were probed to determine which levers would be effective in controlling us. They have succeeded. Oh no, I scrolled too far. They need a propaganda machine within the human family. Victims of abductions, once properly programmed, are the perfect advocates for aliens on Earth. These so-called experiencers are made to believe that aliens are here to save us from ourselves. This is a Trojan horse. By weakening our belief in the human spirit and our ability to, as a race, to be self-ruling and self-determining, aliens are undermining the freedom and sovereignty in a subtle, insidious way. Our biological parts are valuable commodities on the black market. This is the fact that no one wants to talk about, and yet it is sadly true. In a universe of mostly barren worlds, biochemical parts and fluids are extremely valuable. They can be used in cloning and medical procedures. Outrageous? Yes. But consider how we are treated as animals. A cow is just a combination of walking, breathing, living body parts that are useful to us. This is why some alien abductees never return. According to the Allies of Humanity, this is considered a crime in this region of space, but there's a demand for biological parts and fluids on the local black market. The alien agenda cannot succeed if enough people are aware of what aliens are doing. Their plan depends upon stealth and secrecy. You have the power to change this. You have the power to oppose them. In spite of what aliens would like to have us believe, they would like nothing better than for us to feel powerless in their midst. Aliens have seriously underestimated the power and strength of the human family. It begins with you. It does. It begins with us. So they mind wipe people so that you don't remember what had taken place, even though in the moment you're in exhaustive pain, being prodded like a cattle. I think there's a lot of motive and reason why people are vegan, or at least vegetarian. We need to do better. But the whole black market thing is true. And again, there is good ETs out there helping us. They are not here to infiltrate us. They're here to help us enter the galactic stages where we should have been many, 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 many decades ago. But these little guys, well, that's a bigger one, made it so that they feed off of our fear and they do heinous things to us. And you can only imagine the scale and scope of how many more people, besides the one that have already come out, that they're fearing for their lives. I don't know if I was ever abducted. I've been interested in this stuff for a very long time. I am an envoy from the Pleiades. I know that as a starseed. I've been looking and researching myself and my origins for a very long time. I have snippets and snapshots of me up on a craft being a warrior. Sounds about right. I got my tools behind me. But I find it very interesting that they mind wipe you and they implant things in your head. But then when people get regressed, a lot comes out. I want to read this regression. It's from Intruders, The Incredible Visitations at Copley Woods by Budd Hopkins. Why? Because it's a regression, just like Dolores Cannon. Although Dolores Cannon, where I don't agree with her, is stating that all these encounters are for the positive, and that once people get regressed, everything is good, peachy keen. Now, I don't believe that. Tony Rodriguez can tell you otherwise. And I mean, he was super soldier, but slave. But he could tell you otherwise. Elena Denan can tell you otherwise, and many other people who have come out can tell you otherwise. That their experiences were not of benevolence. I mean, some got intervened, but so let's go back. There's a woman who's returning on a road, conscious, and I think it's sisters. And Kathy's hypnotic recall continues after a pause. I could see cornfields and sky. Are you looking through the windshield? Yeah. I get out of the car. You can move again? Yeah. I'm gonna get out of the car and watch. It's just standing there. I asked Dorothy if she can still see it, and she's telling me it's gone. What is it? It's a light. Kathy, I'm confused. Has Dorothy been standing outside? Where is she when you get out? I get out and she's standing by the front of the car in the road, and she's just watching the sky. I come up and stand next to her, and I asked her if she could see it, and she said it was gone. So we got back in the car. Roberta gets out of the back seat, and she asked if it's gone, and we told her yes. We just drive, and I'm feeling funny watching the sky. What time is it, Kathy? Next time she looked at her watch, we were in town and we're probably driven 10 minutes, and it was about 4:30. It was about 15 after 4. Huh? What's that mean? Because when we looked at her watch, she said time flies when you're having fun. I don't know. Didn't you tell me it was 2-something a short time ago? Yeah, because we just come from the pizza shop. And she got out at 1, and we're going to see if Tommy was where he was supposed to be. I didn't know. I didn't know why I sat up so long. It didn't seem so long. It only seemed like 5 minutes. We're not tired. At this point in the hypnosis, I suggested that we backtrack to the moment when Dorothy first stopped the car to look at the UFO. I told Kathy to concentrate on that time as she watched the darting strobe light. I was doing what you said, and it was darting around, and I don't know, I saw something black. It was funny, right over the top of the car. The sky was dark, but this was darker, and it was big and long. And I can't describe. I've never seen anything like that before. Is it as big as a car? Yeah, it's bigger. Does it have any particular shape to it? No, it was like a black cloud. Kind of rounded, curving, puffs out or something. I don't know. I can't describe it. It's just real big, and it looks like a black cloud that's kind of curved. Do you have a feeling that Dorothy, when she looks up, can see it too, or is it just you? Are you looking up through the windshield, or are you looking out through the window? I'm looking up through the windshield, but I don't have to go very far up. I just grab hold and lean forward, because it's kind of coming up towards the car from ahead of us, over the top of us, and it's so fast. It's just all black and it's not light anymore. You said before that you felt a tingling and felt that you had trouble moving. Is that the part of what's happening now, or hasn't happened yet? Or what? It hasn't happened yet. Let's continue with this. Does the black cloud come towards the car from the front? Am I right about that, or am I wrong? Right. So now what happens? There's a flash. Is that flash you said was inside the car, like a flash bulb? Yes. It wasn't from outside. No. Inside the car, I'm trying to keep the details together so that I can follow the story. What's happening now, Kathy? It's moves around as if in pain. Don't like it. I don't want. He calms her down. I just don't like it. It makes my stomach hurt. What makes your stomach hurt, Kathy? I don't know. I don't know. I can't move. And it feels like I'm being squeezed. And I just don't want it. Moans in obvious pain. It feels like my legs are being pulled off my body from the waist down. Are you sitting in the car while this is happening? Or, I don't know. Yes, no. I'm laying down. Shivering moan. I'm laying down, but my legs are floating. I feel like I'm being pulled really hard. And I don't like it. I feel like I'm being pulled, but it doesn't hurt. It's just too weird. What's doing the pulling? I don't know. Nothing's touching me. It's just like my legs are, all metal and a big magnet pulling me. I can feel the pull everywhere. It doesn't hurt. No, but I don't like it. What can you see while this is happening? Black. Are your eyes closed? Yes. Do you want to see? No. If I don't look, I won't be scared. I'm hot from the waist down, cold from the waist up. And I feel like I'm getting one of those somebody I got the cramps really bad. All right, Kathy, that will pass. That will pass. Is it in your gut? Where my uterus is? Down below, like I'm going to have my period. It's hard, it hurts, it's like a toothpaste, a lot of pressure. Oh, it feels like someone's pushing on me real hard, wiggling and pushing right in there. Oh, when you say it feels like somebody, do you feel like hands or do you feel like a general pressure or what? It's like a finger on your abdomen or in you. It feels like it's in me. In the bitty parts? No, in my real low, right above my bladder and stuff, just right in there. It feels right, real tight. I can't move. What position are you in while this is happening, Kathy? I'm laying down. It stopped. And you said you were cold from the waist up and hot from the waist down. Yeah, kind of burning sensation from the waist down. I can't move. Although I'm gonna skip a bit. So that's like the majority of what women usually go through. Those kinds of abductions, getting taken from a spot, removed. Two things could have happened there. I won't tell you. But most likely she was implanted to create a hybrid, or they were taking eggs from her. That could have also happened. And for men, yep. Other abductions People talk about getting implants in certain spots. Certain people have them in up here in their nose bridge, in their sinuses, in the back of their neck. Some have them in their hands. And when they are taken out, they're very highly magnetic. And usually no one knows they're really there unless they get an MRI scan and whoops. You didn't know that was there. But there are also implants that are not of this dimension that people have implanted in them. They don't know it, but it's there, but not in this dimension. So there's a lot that goes into the abductions. A lot of scary stuff. There's some pictures in here. You see like the radiation marks. I mean, that looks reptiloid. So what I would like to know from people, if you've had experiences, do you remember the flashing lights? What kind of ship was it? Was it the cigar shape? Was it the cylindrical shape? Was it the triangle shape? Each race has very similar craft and others don't. Some of them have very crazy looking shit, others don't. But then you can narrow down at least what took you. And sometimes, again, it could be benevolent. One can't know until you find out. And hypnotic regression is usually something that helps. Even if you do remember some aspects, there might be hidden aspects that only your higher self and your subconscious can get and recall, which is very interesting. I know Dolores Cannon has a huge book on a lot of the repression she's done on people. And it's not that I want to focus on the negative stuff, but I think it's due diligence to do both sides, because both are very valid, that some people have good experiences and others don't. And those people could just be remembering what was implanted in their heads. If you're brave enough, the Orion Lines is a fascinating website. I might do a dig into that next, part 2 of the alien abduction series, because the stuff on there is sick. You think the pictures I showed off of some movies were bad? Oh boy. But I mean, if we want to look at E.T., the movie, he was cute. He didn't mean any harm. trying to make sense out of what happened. Maybe. Fire in the Sky. I hope I'm saying that movie title right. It's notably said that, I think it was Ronald Reagan said to Steven Spielberg how accurate his movies are about the aliens. That's a lot. When the president of the United States tells somebody that they're on it with that, I mean, we had Project Serpo, so it's not like these presidents don't have the access to those documents. They do. We have Eisenhower, we have Truman. I mean, and not too long ago, Don Jr. sat down with his father for an interview and asked about Area 51 and if that will ever be disclosed. I mean, I think many of people that are watching this right now know what's underneath S2 and 51. I don't know if they're there anymore. I don't think so. I know a lot of those places were cleaned out. And some of the craft that's up there now is ours. A lot of those crafts that you see is ours. You heard me. Soul awarded, Earth Alliance. They're flying. I mean, the truth will definitely come out, and if it doesn't, it's up to us to disclose it. We, as Elena Denon says, we are the disclosure now. We are the disclosure. So if anybody would like to come and talk about your experiences, I would welcome that, because I think it's very important that you get your story out. Doesn't matter what part of the planet you're from. Although I only do English. Sorry, unless you have a translator. And even if you don't want to come on and you want to write me your story and you want me to read it, I can. And you could change your name to somebody else if you're in fear. And we can make another location so that they don't track you down, the Men in Black. I don't know if they're still here sniffing around, but don't be afraid. That feeds them. That definitely feeds them. So this is just part one. I wanted to read the Barney and Betty Hill story because it's a famous one. And some of what those abductions are. Yep. Go into that. And just to read a snippet, I don't want to go too in detail about what they do. And the regression that people do. It's very important. More and more people are coming to kind of understand that aliens exist. And I don't want to frighten people, but we need to know what their agenda is. And their agenda is to hybridize. Their agenda is to take our fluids, our body, sell it on the black market for reptiles to eat. And depending on your blood type and your genetics, they take your DNA and then they will clone you. They will sell you for slavery on other planets and other star systems. I mean, I showed you guys the photo of the reptilian in my plague mask. So who knows? I don't think I was abducted by them. If I was ever abducted, I won't know until I hit the lotto and get a regression, because I do want a cute HHT regression. I want to validate a lot of things in my logical mind. I get spirit validations. I need to know though, like not proof, but if I could speak back to a few of these lives that I've had or my future self, I would love to know if I'm on it or not, just to validate, like, you're not crazy. No, this is really going on. Yep. I definitely do a session on Zoom with somebody and like broadcast it after. That'd be really cool. I would definitely be down for that. Yeah. So I just wanted to do this little bit of a little itty bitty video going over that first part in hopes that other people will come forward and share your story. Share your story. You're not crazy. None of what you went through is crazy. And even if you weren't abducted, being really interested in this topic is only showing your mental maturity and understanding the greater scope of things that go on this planet and in this universe. And it's very important that we understand the bad from the good so that we can discern if we ever come into contact with either our friends from above or the beings from another dimension that want to do us harm. We know the frequency, we can feel if they have good intentions, even if they freaking lie about it. You have to have your discernment up. And we're going to be coming upon in the next couple of years more advancements and more things that are going to come out. And it's again just to prepare mentally. These are possibilities. These stories have been coming out for a very long time. These books have been out for a long time. But it was a taboo conspiracy theory concept. They're not. They really happen. And I urge others to do the same thing. Much respect to those who have gone through hell. You're here, and that's all that matters. And hopefully you can get the healing that you need if you had trauma, and move on from it and be positive and raise your vibration up so that you can be protected. We need to come together as not just a community, but as a humanity. We have to defend ourselves and we have to defend our planet. And this is where we're at right now. And how can we do that if we're still sleeping to concepts that they're just stories? No, they're not. Too many people have gone through this. And we need more brave souls. Because eventually it can't be ignored. It cannot be ignored anymore. So with that, part 2, we'll dive in a little bit more. I might show more pictures, picture fun. I might show some itty bitty parts of the Orion Lines website. I might also get some other pictures off of some other sites. So we can get fully acquainted with our tall whites and even the benevolence. Try to get some good stories out there too. It's not all bad. But until then, sending each and every one of you love and light. Please consider emailing me for real if you want to have an interview or just a sit down chit chat. We could film it, it could go live, whatever. I'm stressing this because it's time. that things happen and people find out. And a lot of my like social media is normies. I have the other, the other social media where more like-minded people like watch. But a lot of what I post, what I do, goes to normie land. So the more, and a lot of people do trust me. So trying to wake them up. And I know a lot of you want to do the same. So have a great week. Please consider like, share, and subscribing if you can. It's free. It helps me. I'm in destitute right now. I need help big time. And I can't do this without the help of others right now. Any little bit helps. Any little bit helps. I'm not a grifter. If you're watching me on another upload. Wow, the wind is really strong. I'm in lot. I swear I'm in New York and I can't get help from my own politicians. It's bad here. If you've been looking at the news, the mayor is allowing the athletes and performers that are on to work, but I can't go back to work. My job was taken away from me for an allergy, mind you. And I can't go back to work. I can't make a living. I'm not getting assistance. And no one seems to give a shit. While the rest of the country is pretty much fine. And the problem is, I would move if I had the funds in the first place saved up so that I could, have a yard sale, but it's freezing out. It's like 30 degrees. It's almost April. I would sell a lot of this stuff, but I still need a moving truck. I still need movers to move my things to another state. I still need my car fixed so that I can drive myself and my kitties to another state. You can't move when you have nothing. And doesn't mean that I'm going to sell my house within a week. It doesn't happen like that. Like my neighbor took almost a year to sell the house. Like, yeah, the market's going bananas right now, but that doesn't matter. So yes, I would move, but I need help moving and I need a financial backing to do so until I get what I sell my house for. Right? Yeah. So anything helps. Sorry, went off on that Allison rant right now, but it's getting really scary for me, guys. And I want to continue doing these videos. I want to continue to have my lights on. I only eat once a day. And I want to be able to keep this internet up. So please consider helping me. Have a nice night, guys. Until the next episode, it'll be episode 5B. The abduction, the gray agenda. Stay tuned.